What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. I'm gonna do a fire analysis I was kind of asked to do. This one's for Evander Holyfield. Um, Perhaps one to me one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. One of them. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but I think he's one of them. Just the fact that he practically fought everybody that he could have possibly faced. There's a couple heavyweights he didn't face, but overall, he didn't duck any opponents, and like I said, he just fought. He practically fought everybody, except for a couple fighters. I was told to kind of examine it from three strategies: um, use steroids, headbutt, and hold excessively. Now, Evander Holyfield's style, to me, I think he possessed a lot of athleticism, and boxing ability, and they were both intertwined together. And me personally, I never seen the excessive holding or a lot of holding until later in his career. By the time he hit Lennox Lewis in 1999, I personally thought that Lennox Lewis won both fights, and I think with the holding, I think it was something that didn't really become evident until later in his career. He did do some holding in the second Bow fight, um, but the thing with Lennox Lewis kept pushing him off, and then to create space because of Evander Holyfield, he liked to do the hooks on the inside. He would hook you on the inside. He would hold at times, but what he would do to lead up to it, he would box his way in. He would use the left jab. He would stay on the outside. He would move on his toes. He he could. The thing with Holyfield is Holyfield could have done a lot of stuff. There was things he could have just interchanged if he wanted to. He was very interchangeable, in my opinion. I think he was able to change up that style. He showed the athleticism, showed that combination of power and speed, um, in the in fights with Bo and Cowie, and even against Burt Cooper, and just some of his earlier fights he showed against Foreman as well. Just showed the power and speed, and he also had a lot of heart and a lot of determination. But there were fights to where he would hold a little bit excessively, and fights where he wasn't able to, when he was against fighters where he wasn't able to clinch and hold, he would get beaten up. And a good example of that was James Toney 2003 just pretty much just massacred him. Um, and even though he was about 41 years old in that bout, I just think that holding like around his second prime, um, did a lot for him. And but it didn't necessarily dictate his career. There were some fighters that were just tailor made for him. Ray Mercer, that's a perfect example of it. May of '95 when he beat Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer just kept stepping in, and he beat him. And the headbutting, I've seen him headbutt a few times. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen him headbutt a few times, um, especially on the inside. And sometimes in boxing, headbutts are inevitable, but I have seen him at times kind of put that head down, in matchups. And and actually in the second, I believe it was the second fight with Lewis, you could see something, you could see a headbutt that was intentional. When he was coming in, and Lennox Lewis had his head down. He kind of put the head up. I don't remember which round. He kind of put his head up right into Lewis's cheek, and kind of rolled his head in and stuff. But there were some headbutts that, in my opinion, with his style of fighting, there's just some headbutts that couldn't have been avoided. But there were times that he did straight up just kind of just headbutt you on the inside. He has you on the inside, he just kind of headbutt you. Now, the steroid use, something that I think that's something that a lot of people look at as well. The steroid use. I think he was accused of using HGH. He had a heart condition, and talked about how sluggish he was in the later rounds of the Michael Moore fight. And a year later against Ray Mercer, he seemed to have a lot of energy in that matchup in the later stages of the fight. Um, Riddick Bowe, I believe he lost that one. Um, I don't think he did show any signs of. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but I know he lost that one. I don't think he showed any signs of this. I think he did have a sluggish end, but he did kind of come out in the sixth round and just pulverize Bowe, but Bowe just came in the later rounds and beat him. And then Tyson, he beat Tyson, and in the second Tyson fight, he actually had to take a steroid test. He took a test, and he had never tested positive in his career for steroids or even HGH. And HGH is associated with the heart condition he has because of the effects of it. The effects of HGH gives you more energy. With his condition, he was sluggish. He said he was sluggish in the later rounds, so it's a possibility he used HGH. Who knows? But it is associated with his heart condition. But he did take a test for the Tyson fight the rematch in 1997, and he didn't test positive for any illegal substance. But later in his career, you can debate whether or not he used any steroid or whatsoever, because his name did come up in 2007 on Sports Illustrated's controversial article where a lot of athletes had gotten suspended, and his name came up among those athletes. And a lot of those athletes, that list from what I've read was pretty legit. That and the Balco situation, things like that. I don't know if Holyfield came up in the Balco situation, but I know it was just a list of athletes who used steroids, and his name came up. And I'll never forget the Evan Fields thing. That was in like 2006, late 2006, the Evan Fields thing. But overall, my opinion of Evander Holyfield in the ring, I think he's, like I said, I think he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. I think he's one of the greats. If not the greatest, one of the best. Like I said in another video, I grew up watching Evander Holyfield. Hell, I even used to have the Sega video game with Evander Holyfield on it when I was a kid. But me, I like when he was in his prime. I liked watching him fight. I liked that style. I liked what he brought to the ring. Each and every fight. Sometimes because with Evander Holyfield, you're gonna get a fight. When he was in his prime, you knew you were gonna get a fight, and that's what I liked about Holyfield, because I knew watching the Holyfield matchup, I was gonna get a fight, and seeing the matchups against Ruiz and seeing him get outboxed by Bird. I hated seeing those matchups, but it is what it is. It happens in the sport. Some of our greats fade, and some have to continue fighting for money issues. But overall, great fighter, in my opinion. Some may see it differently, but I just think Evander is a great fighter. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was The Distance. Peace.